See if we can get one to eat, guys. Here we go. Oh, there he is. There he is. Just like that. All right, guys. So this week's video, I'm back at it. I'm at my hometown. Went to high school here. Grew up here. Fished here as a kid. Racine, Wisconsin. Now I'm actually launching private launch that I pay to launch here when it's too rough and windy to go launch at the public launch. So you can launch up here. There's a couple launches up in the river here where you can launch. But what we're going to do today is we are going to show you how to do one of my favorite things in the fall. Try to avoid the wind, and that is casting crankbaits for big browns and steelhead coming at you right now. All right, guys, we are down here in the Racine Harbor where I grew up, and I want to go over my 3 favorite easy methods for catching brown trout and steelhead in all these lower rivers and harbors here on the western basin of Lake Michigan. You can do this, okay? First thing I want to really talk to you about is the reel. Now, I'm excited this season because I partnered up with Piscifun reels. You may not have heard of them. They're a new up-and-coming reel, and I really like this reel right here. It's the Carbon X, right? And the reason I like it, I've used it this year for trout and salmon and walleyes, has a super smooth drag. It has a carbon drag system. It's super light, and it's got 10 ball bearings. It's got a 6:1 gear ratio. So a lot of really good things about this. What you guys can do, click the link in the bio at the end of the video. There's the EH15 discount code for you. Now I want to go into the tackle that I'm going to be using for catching brown trout and steelhead on the rivers here. All right, so we're going to talk about tackle that we're using here, and I want to just quickly show you how I'm fishing a square bill crankbait, because a lot of my videos I go about catching a lot of fish, and I don't know that I always am taking the time to show you how I'm specifically fishing the bait. Now the first thing is, this is a KVD 1.5 square bill. Now I like to take the hooks out. I put an EWG Gamakatsu number 4 on them, so I change the hooks out. And I'm going to show you a little tip here. I also add UV tape to them, but I want to show you just a quick cast. So you take, it's pretty simple with a square bill. You make sure that bait is running straight in the water. And what I mean by that is, you saw how I dropped it and pulled it. If that bait's running to the left or to the right, you got to turn the eye. If the bait's running this way, you grab a pliers and you pinch the eye, because you want it running straight, just like this. Okay, that's important. Now that that bait's running straight, let's make a cast. Let's tell you, what am I using for line? I've got 15-pound braid, 10 or 15-pound braid, 12 or 14-pound fluorocarbon leader, because steelhead will go nuts, they'll jump, they'll go crazy, so I really don't like to use 10. I like to use 12 or 14. And one thing I like to tell guys, see how smooth and light that drag is? I don't like a tight drag, because these fish hit like a ton of bricks, they go nuts, and if you have a tight drag, something's got to give. The line's going to break, something's going to usually break. Bomb that bait out there, and remember, a lot of these fish are suspended, so they're only down 4 to 8 feet, and this bait dives down 6 to 8 feet on a long cast. I just reel it smooth. Once in a while, I'll give it a little surge. Now you can surge that bait by using your rod tip to surge it, or you can reel steady and give it a quick reel with your reel to surge the bait. And that does just kind of moves it a little bit quicker. So just surge the bait once in a while, little surge. So that is how I fish a square bill. You can't go wrong. Catches me the most fish probably all fall. A lot of times the biggest fish in the fall with a square bill, whether I'm trolling, whether I'm casting, square bill, you gotta try it. All right guys, so I talked to you about fishing that square bill. You can fish it on a bait caster, a spinning rod. The next one, probably my next favorite way that I like to catch fish in the fall, it's really simple as well. You probably all started doing this as a kid, and it's called float fishing, okay? So basically my setup here, I've got a red line Lamiglass medium action rod. Same thing, I've got 10-pound braid, but you could use 8 or 10-pound mono if you want. I like braid while it's warm. When it gets really cold, below like 35 degrees, then I switch to mono, because braid will freeze up on you on the tribs and in the harbor. So I have both a braid rod and reel and mono for late in the fall. Now when I float fish, I'm just using a Gamakatsu octopus tiny hooks, either a number 10 octopus hook or an 8. That's traditionally all I use. I know guys use bigger, but I like smaller and lighter. And then I've got, in the harbor here, I don't use a series of shot like I may in the tribs. I just use a simple rib, one or two split shots there. And then I've got a two-way swivel, all right, and that's 8-pound test fluorocarbon, because water's kind of dirty here in Racine. So dirtier water, you can get away with heavier line. Clear water, lighter line. Then I just use a float, any float. You don't need a super heavy float because there's not a lot of current. You don't have to cast it out super far. And this is just a fixed float that I can slide up and down. You see that? You want a fixed float, not a spring. And if you're fishing deep, you want a slip bobber. Now here's the one thing I want to tell you. The first thing for a lot of you guys that ask me about spawn fishing. So I add a little bit of cure. I'll get natural brown eggs, natural coho eggs. These are actually lake trout eggs right here, believe it or not. I just kept the lake trout, put a little pink cure on them. And what I'll do is I'll just hook them. Pretty simple like that, right? Now here's the thing I'll tell you. A lot of guys will fish in the harbors, right? They'll throw this spawn out. And what's nice about a float rod is you can just leave it out there, right? You can fish on the piers or wherever here, throw out 1 or 2 float rods, but you got to watch them. Fish will take them and pull them in, right? But what I like to do a lot of times, I will see how fish on live scope will swim up to that float and then just swim away. So when they come up to it, I like to move the float and pull it. It's almost like you twitching a float for like crappies and trout. Guys twitch little minnow baits. So when you're float fishing, not only does it work great in the fall with spawn, okay, but don't hesitate. Give it a pull, let that bag fall, watch your float, because if you see it move, they mouth it and they spit it quickly. Let it sink. I tell my guys, let it sink for like 10 seconds, let it sit there, give it another pull, wait, let the bag fall again. Fish it anywhere in the harbor, anywhere from 6 to 10 feet down, and try the pull, drag, let it sit, pull, drag, let it sit. That technique catches fish. And not only will it work for catching browns with spawn, but you can take that spawn bag out and you can replace that. If you don't have spawn, you can use smaller jigs, little hair jigs. You can grab a little jig head like this. You can replace a single hook, and you can twitch it with spawn under a jig. You can use a little tube, you can use a little minnow, you can twitch like a 1/16 ounce jig with a little 2-inch or 3-inch plastic. You can fish it under a float, twitch it down anywhere from 3 to 10 feet. These fish are sometimes really, really high. So fishing a float is definitely my favorite way as well to catch them in the fall, not just with spawn. I like a tube, I got a little tube here to show you. Yeah, a little panfish tube like this, a little white tube with a couple of wax worms on it will work great as well. So if you haven't tried float fishing, get yourself a good Piscifun reel, spool it up with 10-pound test, get a nice float rod, and hang on. All right, guys, the last couple easy ways I want to show you if you don't have spawn, you don't have any crankbaits, a real simple way is you grab yourself a walleye rod or a medium action rod, and you take a 1/4 ounce jig is typically what I like, a 4-inch minnow, okay, or a 3/16 or even an 1/8 ounce jig with a 3 or 2-inch minnow. I can't talk right now, but I want to show you how I fish this. Again, a lot of you guys, when you're fishing plastics, you probably let it fall to the bottom. Well, a lot of these fish are suspended, so I'm going to count it down about 4 seconds, then just give it little snaps like this. Give it a little pop, straight reel it, give it a little pop just like that. So just snapping it and reeling it slow, little pop. And a lot of times on the drop, you'll feel like a thunk. They hit it a lot of times when it's falling. So if you haven't tried fishing a jig and a plastic, this is going to work everywhere. Now 4-inch if you've got big bait, and a 3-inch is kind of one of my favorite little plastics in the white, or this little pearl color here in the shimi. These are actually bass baits, but you'll see a lot of your bass baits work great for trout. Trout have an unbelievable sense of smell, and especially eyes. They will follow a bait like a big smallmouth. So square bills, jerk baits, all sorts of things like that are gonna trick them. And last but not least, the good old spinner. Now you guys have seen some of my videos, if you look them up on my YouTube page, how to even make your own spinners. Spinners are pretty simple to make, but if you want to buy some, you can buy some Blue Fox spinners. And I use a 10 or 12-pound fluorocarbon leader here. Spinner is such a good bait in the lower river and in the harbor. You can just take them and cast them straight out Let them sink. I like to count them down. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 6 seconds. Set the hook to get the blades going. Just a nice, slow, steady retrieve. And I really like a spinner where there's current, and I like a spinner when the water's a little off colored, and I really like them in the river. So sometimes they seem to want a crankbait or a jerkbait more than they'll eat a spinner. But if you haven't tried fishing gold, chartreuse, silver spinners, those are fantastic baits for coming down here in the fall, catching brown trout, catching steelhead. Grab yourself some light action rods, your bass gear, your walleye gear, and take advantage of a world-class trout fishery. Now, I see fish jumping. We're gonna wrap up this week's video of the 3, 4 easy ways for you guys to come down here, how to fish them, what gear you need. Get yourself, check out the old Piscifun reels, guys. They are a really great reel for your money. So check the link in the description. Thanks for watching this week's video. I'm gonna try to go put the meat down, beat down, smack down, crack down on some fish here coming at you. We'll try to keep cranking out videos. See ya. There he is, got him. Be a steelhead. Yeah, steelhead. Come on. Yeah, steelhead. That's why you got a loose drag right there, guys. Oh, yes, look at this. This is crazy. I got to turn on the other GoPro. Ah. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Oh, look at him go nuts. Yes, yes. Yes. There you hear the drag on the old Piscifun. Hear that smooth, light drag cranking them up. Big chrome. Yes. Yeah, so much fun. Saw him chasing it. I'm seeing a lot of fish here. This is beautiful. Beautiful. All right, back at it. Back at it. Yo, come on. Oh, yes, that was awesome. I love it. Love it. Come here, buddy. Oh, my God. Look at him just go nuts. All right. All right. Get in there. Yes. Got him. Fish number 1, just getting down here in the afternoon on the crankbait, the KVD, with the HAAT tape. See that? HAAT tape on there. Fish number 1. All right, guys, there he is. Fish number 1. That's a male steelhead. I'm actually going to keep that one. Keep a couple steelhead for the smoker, because if you want to keep any steelhead, the best time to keep them is when they get in the tribs here in the fall. Right when they get in here now, the meat's going to be just beautiful. I'm going to smoke these up because I got a farmer that lets me hunt on his land. I'm going to bring him some fresh smoked steelhead. Fish number 1, cranking them up in the harbor. Ain't no one down here either. There's a bunch of them right there. 80 feet. Come on. Eat it. Come on, eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Come on. All right, here they come. There's like 5 of them right out here. See if we can get one to eat, guys. Here we go. Oh, there he is. There he is. Just like that. Yes, I saw him off there. All right. Yes, nice steelhead. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we want. Big school of them right out in front of me here. Yes, yes, yes. We got a little wind, but we're getting them, square billing them up just like last year, guys. Apologize for the wind, guys. It's windy, but they are here. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There he is. Number 2. Look at that dime right there. Look at that dime. Wow. There he is. Look at that. Beautiful chrome steelhead. We're going to keep a couple for the smoker. Bringing these. Got a farmer, lets me hunt, so I'm going to bring him some fresh fish. Keep a couple. This is a good time to keep steelhead. And we're on the board, number 2, casting them up with square bills. I love it, I love it. Hey guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this week's video. Put the beat down on some steelhead, and I taught you some very easy techniques on how to catch brown trout and steelhead when they're staging down here in these rivers, in the lower harbors, in the marinas. Some days it'll be spawn, it could be shrimp, it could be a hair jig, a tube jig, square bill, a spinner, you don't know. Today I just threw square bills and we put the beat down on them. So try those techniques out. Do me a favor, leave me a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 100K subscribers. It may take me 20 years, but I'm gonna keep cranking out videos. Thanks for watching this week's video, guys. See ya.